film is intended for mature audiences and contains adult content, graphic language, graphic violence, nudity, and strong sexual content. Viewer discretion is advised. Like, we'll leave it up to you, but you gotta know about this stuff before getting into this whole thing, you know? I mean, straight up, one guy gets his face bitten off by a raccoon, and we show it. Oh man, do we show it. Real big close-up. And we spoke to a scientist to make sure it was, you know, physically correct and whatever. We said, hey, scientist guy, like, how much damage could a raccoon realistically do? And he told us a lot.
Hey y'all, he's Big Duke 6.
And he's cool.
And he's Kegs. Kegs, who do we have on now?
So, on episode 2 of this wonderful fucking Sunday, we have the man, the myth, the fastest fuck legend, RickyBobby, and a man who, well, he's named after a Florida animal, and I'm not sure how that works considering he's across the pond, Mr. Gator, and we decided to keep you could say, how do I put this one? We'll just say
he smuggles my bungees.
I completely lost my train of fucking thought. We'll just say fuck the rest of that, and we have a special guest orator on tonight, and Junior, who decided to stay on and keep fucking with us for a little while. So, how's everyone doing today?
Good. Doing great.
I have a rash, mainly on my balls. Oh wait, where are we live? Are we live? We're live. Let's.
Well, you don't want to know.
I didn't want anybody to know. Oh, my bad. That didn't happen. So anyway, minus the rash, everybody's doing well.
Yeah, a little left.
Oh, okay. Well, you know.
Still drinking root beer.
I'm still on whiskey. I'm not even gonna lie about that.
I wish I was on a whiskey. I should have put some whiskey in my coffee.
I'm fucking sober. I'm mostly sober. That's the sad part. That's how I feel the rash. But with that being said, Mr. Kempo, who are you inside the game, and who do you fly for?
Right. So my name is Gator, but I used to be called Kempo until me and Ricky decided to mess around with some Will Ferrell names. So the name Gator actually come from the other guys, the Will Ferrell character, one that said Gator don't play no shit, Gator even mix his gat, you punk ass bitch. That one. So,
you need more work on your American accent than I do on my Aussie, but that's all right.
I didn't even try that. That's what it is. And I am one of the core command of IA.
Don't you own a server as well?
Pardon?
Do you own a server on Discord?
I do have a server on Discord, but it's kind of like I don't really go on it too much. It's more Ricky. I think Ricky actually set up his sledgehammer to take down IA, and then I changed it to
to kind of help.
I changed it to Gator's Hoe House, I think. But yeah,
Brothel.
Yeah, Gator Brothel. That's the one. Yeah,
it's a good place to like hit up people that need pilots or vice versa. If you need pilots, hit them up. So, but what about Mr. Bobby? You go fast. Who do you fly for?
I fly for F-35. I've flown for just about everybody on the game.
Ooh.
There's not much really. I fly when days I don't fly. I just like fucking with people. Kind of calm down with that, but
well, there's a pound of
in a nutshell.
there's a pound of Colombian Bam Bam under the car. What are you gonna do? So, no, in all seriousness, so you've flown for basically everybody. How long you guys been on the game?
Like almost 2 years now.
Yeah, about 2 years. Yeah.
So you're in the realm of my guys, which is Duke and Kegs. Probably Junior too. I don't know.
Yeah, we would all be about the same time, I believe.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess with that being said, you boys have any questions for him that I wouldn't be privy to?
Questions for him.
Let's see, Ricky, you've flown with a lot of different squadrons, but who were some of the main squadrons you flew with back in the day, back when the like F-14 was a shit and everybody waiting for a T-5 to come out and all that?
And skirmish was the only thing you could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Geez, I want to say that, I don't know, I flew for a few, but I think the first main one that I stuck with for a while was USA, with Lonnie, KLX, and all those guys. And then, I mean, I've had like 4 different accounts kind of cycling through till I stayed on this one. Started USA for a while, and then when Bro was big, I forgot who convinced me to go to CAN to go against Bro. So I flew with them for one war, and then I was TVB for a while, and then like you guys remember Jiggy Fresh, me, him, and just the tip made our own squad, Ice.
Yeah, I remember
Ice. Yeah, not too much longer after IA started, and then I don't know. I think I flew 3 or 4 with IA while they were still on Platinum before going back to Ice. I made Shake and Bake SMB. I actually made 2 of those. Ditched those both, and then kind of just flew with AI again for a while. Flew with Bro, and now I'm just chilling in the different F-35 squads.
Nice. I'll show you just the tip. Here's my question. So, when it comes to IA, right? You guys are obviously pretty, what I consider normal pilots. You know, you're out in the community and shit. Do you think there's a reason why there's not a whole lot of pilots, I guess, like y'all from IA, that are just kind of out and about, just having fun, or seemingly? Let me put it out there, seemingly.
Okay. What? They don't like us, or is that what you said?
I think it's don't like you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is just
They're number one.
IA is, well, not just that, but IA came so much from when it started with you guys and Chop, and it was a little bit different. It was make that team to get up, beat Bro, and have fun. But it changed. That's part of the reason why I left or got kicked out, or whatever you want to call it. I think a lot of people don't like some of the arrogance of some of the pilots. That's my thought on why some people don't like IA.
I feel like the question he was trying to ask wasn't pertaining quite to that. It was more along the lines of why there isn't more like IA guys out in chat, hanging out and just cutting it up and having a good time.
Yeah.
That's what I gathered out of that.
Yeah. I don't know. The like, so shall I say a bit about how I started the game, or like, and then I can
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I can get maybe more into like IA crux of it. I'm not OG IA, because I wasn't one of the guys that set it up. There was Chop Zig, DMS, Shadowmaker, Viper X. Am I forgetting one?
Wasn't Apex one of the high up ones?
No.
Perk? PRK
was yes, she was. And then you had Whiskey and Poppy, but they kind of, those were 2 sort of guys that went straight away, but they weren't necessarily command straight away. They are command now, but they were more guys they are OG, but they weren't like sort of the guys who set it up. So,
Well,
like,
and I want to preface this. Like, the reason I ask this is because I, honest to God, have no hate towards IA whatsoever. The few that I've met have actually been pretty cool. The thing is it just it seems like they're a lot quieter than most squads, or maybe it's just the group that I run in, and that's kind of what I'm asking is.
I think that's always kind of been tried to be put across the nature of the beast. We don't try and put ourselves. I'm a guy who can't not be quiet because I'm just one of those guys. But I try and be pretty respectful in all the chats. If I do, sometimes I'll have a bit of a dig at someone, but normally I'm pretty respectful at most. And it's more that the guys tend to not try and get involved. I'd say they get involved more now. Maybe we've got more and more players. It's hard to keep a wrap on everybody, but I don't know. I suppose it's a little bit us against the world at the minute. Not maybe at the minute. It's not always been like that. The thing is, IA used to be the shit. Everybody wanted to be IA. Everybody wanted IA to be bro. Well, now the demeanor has sort of changed now to more everybody against IA, and everybody wants IA to lose because we are the top team. We've been number one now for well over a year, and we kind of beat everybody. And it's you know what I mean. That's when you're that team. It's kind of hard for people don't like it.
No.
I think when like you're on the game, I think Ricky and Junior will probably both sort of agree with me on this. There's kind of two camps, right? There's old original bro and there's IA, right? And there's the guys that have come from old bro normally support all of like the cause against IA, and then the guys that have always been with IA that always support IA against that said squad. Because the way I look at it, it's still always bro against IA, even though bro isn't no more, because it's a lot of players that have come down from bro squad have always come back to help whatever squad has been fighting. If you know what I mean, it's kind of. And I just went to the AI road. I was TBB. That was my first squad. That's where I met Ricky. That's where me and Ricky become pals. I started off there as a noob. There's a whole thing with Snake Eyes, and he was saying about he set up T2B. I just joined that as a noob. I just clicked on it and signed on, and then it was like that. And then it was like, "You ready for the big war, you noob?" And I'm like, "What the hell's a big war? What do I have to do?" And they're like, "Oh, you got to score 10k." And I'm like, 10k and what in a day? And it's like, "Oh no, in like 2 days." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing 20k a day as a noob." And it was like with like sidepointers and everything. So then I went up through. I think we're about 30. I never actually played a war at T2B, and then I went straight into TBB main squad. And I think we're about 30 in top 30. Then we worked our way up to top 10. That was when my first experience with IA sort of come in, because IA, I think a lot of it originated from Foos and some Foos and Crows and whatever else. They all the best ones sort of went to IA. We would get help from IA. And that was the first time that I actually met some of the guys like Shadowmaker and I forgot about K9, but I don't think K9 actually was part of Core to start with. But you had K9, Chop, like Shadowmaker, all these guys sort of come in. You had Random and a few others and stuff like that. They would come and they would help us in some big wars. That was all from our player TTB called Bro. Well, he sort of was the link to IA, which was a new squad. We got up to top 10. We got up to top 5. We were undefeated till we got to the top 5. We beat all the OGs, like the indie squad, the Invincibles. We beat them. We beat Core, the original Core with Zeus and Low and Apode and Mamba and Musa and Kay. We beat all those guys that are now my teammates. But we beat all them as our OG squads, like the original Core, the original indie. And we beat the leftovers of the crop dusters and the cans and the foos, but they were ghost squads at the time. We made it all the way up, and then I think we got up to about 5th, and then Ricky. Oh no, you left a little bit before that, Ricky. I think we were about 8th, and then Ricky and just a tip left, So we lost 2 of our best guys, and then we actually had a big war against Lonnie and USA. That's why I probably never actually went towards Bro side or the LS side, because when we were TBB, we actually got, like, we had Eagle 1. Eagle 1 was in TBB, and Tongues Jones, he was TBB, and when
Cheetos.
we had and Cheetos, we had some really good guys.
Man,
And we
I can't
played
believe
a
you remember
real-
all these old guys. You're saying
I know you're naming guys off that I haven't seen in months.
Yeah. And we had a big war at TBB, and actually Junior come over and Zuma, and that's how my friendship with Zuma and Junior started. We had a big war against USA, and like Eagle 1 was top scorer, and Tongues was top scorer, and I think I had 70k, I think Junior had 70k, and Zuma had 50k. Like we had a big war, and it's a good war. It's like back then, I think it was like a 1.8 million to 1.5 million war. Well, back then was like a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, I didn't like the way Lonnie handled himself after that. He went on, he messaged, and then next thing you know, Tongues and Eagle 1 and Gio all went to USA. From that stage then, I was like, nah, I don't like how you just come and picked our squad. And then that's when the hustle and bustle of the original, what the used to be going to the top 5 used to be happening. You used to get all the way up there, and then you'd get chewed up and spit out, and the top 5 teams would just dismantle you and take away all your best players. So at that stage, we got up to the 4th. We never actually fought Bro. We never got to fight Bro, which I was a little bit disappointed about, but we never got to fight Bro. TBB just got to the stage where we couldn't compete. We didn't have enough players. I was doing 50k a war, and it was going to nothing, right? And I think we had like our second round of games. We lost to Core, we lost to Indy, and when we lost to Indy the second time, or Core the second time, it just destroyed us. And then I went to IA, and I think IA was in Gold League at the time, and and then sort of from then on, I just sort of become a member of them. I was advisor, then I was VC, and then I got to Core Command, and been there ever since.
Well, what was your
I
role?
seem to remember a pretty good war, and Dookie, you'll probably remember this back in the USN days. Didn't we face IA twice back then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I want to say, like, if I remember right, like the first war, something I don't know if it was like a scheduling thing on your guys' end, but it was like fucking like 20 people showed up for it, and we're all sitting there kind of going, well, they're just gonna load up right at the end and fuck us, you know? And then all of a sudden it was like, nope, just 20 people, and we're like, oh fucking K.
Well,
and then the next one was just a shit show, and we got fucking ass packed.
Well, and Adriana and I used to speak off and on, and she would always agree with me that I thought that IA was more intimidating when they weren't talking as much. So perhaps maybe yeah. See, you guys know what I'm saying. Maybe that's something that
definitely, and I think that's why you probably never used to see us talk too much, because it was always kind of the motto, integrity over ego. It was always pushed on, like, we do our talking on the wars, and we don't get involved in, like, God bless Cupid's rants and stuff like that. Like, we would try and distance ourselves from that, and then we probably changed a little bit more. But then I think that's the nature of the beast when you get to number 1, and like the OGs slowly disappear because they just sort of had enough. They burn out. I wouldn't say they burn out. They probably just had enough.
Well,
to be a certain extent, what IA set out to achieve, they achieved, and have more some. I don't think anyone expected us to be where we are now. Certainly.
Well, and I think that's normal. Yeah,
Pardon?
that's definitely normal. Well, I think with pilots in general, but especially ones that have been holding that spot for as long as you guys, IA has.
Yeah.
But we'll see, and this is the crazy part to me. So the reason I brought that up is, all of us here are either flying for somebody different or have. since the podcast, for example, has this kind of, to me, it seems like it's kind of made things easier to understand, like another pilot, versus, you know, just the competition aspect. And I'm not asking for like a pat on the ass. What I'm asking is, do you think it helps hearing another pilot's voice? You know,
I think it does, not just hearing the voice, but kind of hearing their story and, you know, where they've come up through.
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys that I've talked to, either on voice or just, you know, in Discord in general on teams, I kind of already know their background. You know, there's like there's a group of all of us that have been in this game way too long, and it's almost like we stick to ourselves. And like for me, all these new guys that come up, you know, in the game chat, I don't talk as much as I used to because I don't recognize half of these names of these people talking.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see that too. Yeah.
Well,
I can also just
and that's Ricky. I think isn't that how you and I first started BSing? Is you were fucking with someone on English, and I started fucking with you, and then next thing you know, we're just fucking with each other because it was funny.
Yeah, and that's how it's always going.
That sounds like Ricky's life.
I'm pretty sure that's how you and I just first started bullshitting was, and that was back when you were in S&B, I want to say.
Yes, it was S&B.
We didn't really talk a whole lot before then. All of a sudden, it was just like hey fucker.
That was peak shithouse Ricky, SMB.
For the record, I would have flown for SNB, by the way, but I was busy being loyal. So, just the name in general.
I still go to English chat, and I still mess with every now and again, I have to mess with the noobs that, like, brand new ones that come on and open up a team, and I'll jump in, and they're, like, all proud that there's this major general in their team, and I'm, like, laughing, you know, and some other noob would join and start, and then I'll just sit back and watch them pinging missiles off of the opponent, you know, just watching these F4s flying around.
So you're evil. I just troll people in chat. That's all I do.
They don't want to fly with me no more. And then, the next time they don't want to fly no more. I'm like, oh well, figured I'll let y'all taste it.
Well,
see what to look forward to.
And these guys.
I got a trucker buddy that I talked into downloading the game, and he was playing with it for I don't know, a month or two. And he's like, so when are you gonna let me fly with you? I was like, well, I was waiting for you to rank up somebody because you're gonna get tore the fuck apart. And he's like, no, bro, I'm getting pretty good at it. And I'm like, are you even using advanced controls yet, bud? And he's like, what's that? And I'm like, exactly. He's like, just shut up and dial one up. I was like, all right. So I fucking
in his defense, Kegs, I still fly on basic controls. So
yeah, but my F4 is so upgraded. No,
well, you know, and not to knock anyone using basics. I just found actually Gunner, who used to be in USN with me and Dookie, found this control layout where you can still use the joystick instead of tilting your phone for advance, which is a game changer for me. And I was just fucking with him a bit, like, dude, you gotta learn how to do this. He goes, the spinning it just spins, and I'm like, you gotta control it with the joystick, bud. And he never really understood it, but he's like, just dial up a fucking match, man. And I'm like, I actually dialed up in my Hornet instead of my stall, and yeah, it was funny.
Shit show from beginning to end.
I don't know how else to put it. It was funny.
Well, it's like, so I want to throw this out here before I forget. Do you guys still talk to Adriana? Anybody here?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, you know, let her know I miss her, and yeah, we used to kind of talk about just life things. Wasn't hitting on her or anything. Just, yeah, I don't know. One day she disappeared, so I assume it was from.
She's still around. She's in F-35. She left the.
Well, and I didn't want to pursue her there. I'm in F-35 too. The only reason I didn't is it's like her home. But I want to say it was because of a Grimmy's thing, but I don't even know. So just let her know this is like the third time I've shouted her out, and yeah, I just want to talk to her. She's the homie, so smart lady.
I speak to Leaky. She's close to Leaky.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
think Lukey speaks a lot with her.
Well, and she's just, yeah, she was a super smart pilot, and in real life is probably even more amazing than a pilot, so, on the game. So, yeah, for those that don't know, that's the truth, so. I just wanted to throw that out there before I forgot, boys.
Yeah, sure.
But I'd like to have more IA guys on, actually, because seriously, there's, you guys have kind of spoke about it. There seems to be like a stigma, but I don't think it's as much as, No,
I don't think it's as much. No, it's like, we've had several squads, like the whole merge thing kind of started with Bro LS, and quite a lot of squads now have gone sort of the merge route against us, and then they say, hey, you're using guys from PLH and CSF and blah blah blah, and it's like yeah, but they were all, if you actually look, most of the guys are all in the original Bro War. They just sort of go back and come forth every time there's a big war, but it's different. What I've found recently is different. If IA get in players, it's not okay. If other teams do it, it's fine.
Well, and that's kind of, you're talking to somebody that doesn't even really have a tag. I do now. Again, it's WD, but it's like, But my thing is I've noticed that. Like, if WD originates something, it's their fault. If they don't, then do it, it's their fault. Again, I think it comes with the territory of being number one, right? So.
I think the game culture since the old days has shifted too. There's a lot more people murking.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more people wanting to have that like not sustainable competitive gameplay, but like they want to go into that big war to see what it's like and that kind of thing. You know what I mean? I'm sure I speak for Kempo and Ricky when I say that big wars aren't always what they're cracked up to be, but if you go and do it, and you hit it hard. You know what I mean? And you don't talk to people. You're back to back. You're dropping diamonds. You're using free fuel. You're hitting the boosters when you can, just to get up there. You know what I mean? I know I've hit over 100k back in the day. But I'm sure Kempo's already done that, and same with Ricky. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like the guys that hit 500 to a million. That's crazy.
Some people can't. You know what I mean? I know pilots that'll pull 250, 300k and can sustain it, and those guys are good for them. But sometimes some people don't like to be up in that top rank. Every week, two wars a week every week. You know what I mean? It can get draining on some players, and that's where you find now in the game that the fact that the 2 wars, and if it's 2 big wars a week, then people are going to, not burn out per se, but just get over it. You know what I mean?
I think there
are some people with that competitive nature that will just sit there and just go, and I think that's. A part of IA's success is that the team at the beginning relentlessly recruited and was going through everywhere they can and just found a whole bunch of like-minded competitive people. So.
Well, and who was it? Somebody said something to the effect of you can't hate on the grind part of that, and you really can't. I mean, whether it's recruiting or flying or whatever, and my thing is like, so Mal's come on. Obviously, people know that Mal's come on. I would love to have on more people and let them be themselves. Like, I've tried to even get Bucky on, of all people, and there's reasons why he probably can't. So,
I wouldn't have said, like, in the original days of IA, I definitely wasn't recruited. I chose to go there.
Mm-hmm.
You mean I wouldn't have said Ricky was recruited. Most of the guys that joined, like Moggy and Mr. Dark, Undertaker, some real OG guys. It's maybe another guy might have rounded them up. Like, I know Lowe kind of brought all of the Koreans, like with him, and he's the one he's probably the driving force that unified all the Koreans to be with us, really. And the thing is, people think, oh, Zeus has been with us a long time. Zeus has been with us a very long time, but actually Zeus he sort of left core team before he actually went to TH1.
Right.
So he was running at TH1 for a long time before, like, he come over to IA.
Well, and unfortunately,
the thing that, like, I don't really like the big wars. I find it like a job. It's a grind. As Junior said, you don't really talk to anyone. Like, you mean, I've scored over 200k. It's
just not as fun.
I don't personally. I don't really like what the boosters have done to the game. I don't like mini accounts that come in and they load them up because they're cheaper to load up, and then they fly against a load of noobs. I don't really like that. Like, say for example, we just played the champions. Ever since they changed the name, we've spanked them every time. They had a mini in their squad, right? They'd done 500k, a mini account, and you're there like, what the fuck? How the hell you can't? If a team like they always say, they dark arts and all that shit. And we're straight as they come, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's like when you get the other teams doing it, and like I would listen to Zeus, right, talking about these big, talking about IA and what IA are doing it wrong, and it's like, oh yeah, they're at the top and they're manipulating games and all like that. And I said, people need to remember how we actually got to the top. So when we got to the top, there was IF1, the Italians, there TH1, the Turks, there was Bro, right? So there was 3 big squads at the top. So we were doing, so that back then, a big war with like 2-3 million points, right? That was people hitting like 100k, 50k at like minimum 100k, big scores. You'd have a couple doing 200, 300, like you have the likes of Slime and Low doing 200-300k. Before boosters, right? This is like proper scoring. Like when Woken were doing, I think Woken did 350. I'm not sure if Woken did 350 or 400. I can't remember.
I think it was 400.
Yeah. So like you had these really like Coke doing it as well. Like these guys are like shit hot, right? And they were playing a lot, of course. And I think the thing that they get when they get that high rank, they face bots, right? They face bots most of the time because the way the matchmaker matches up, they get bots like 9 times out of 10. It is amazing how many bots they get.
Just because there isn't at just about any range, you'll get bots. If I don't fly with you or in a crew with F-35, I'll get bots a lot of the times.
Yeah, I think you find that as you get a higher rank though, because I think I'm probably in like I'm LGM 29, and I think that's probably one of the hotly contested matching ranks. You get a lot of MGNs and a lot of whatever. But like my point is, when we actually come up, we had like I think we had 5 wars on the bounce of against different squads of like 2 million, 3 million, 2 million, 3 million. My one big gripe about we never actually beat. I was speaking to Dave about this, and I'll shout out his server, The Chosen Few. It's a really good place. It's a really good place to meet players from different squads. There's no BS there. You can stream, you can learn stuff. It's a really great place, and I'm enjoying being part of that server because it's a really cool place. I'm talking to a lot of guys like Nitro and even Maiko, right? Me and Maiko, we've had some choice words before in chats, but like it's a really good place just to meet people, and you put your tags aside and you actually talk the game, and it's a really great place.
I think that goes back to I think it was Kegs was saying, you have these people on here and you're talking, it really changes the aspect of the game or what you think of the other pilots.
When you actually speak to them, right?
Right. When I was streaming with you and Nitro and Miko and all that, it was like, oh, okay. All of a sudden you're listening to voices like, that's not who I thought you were going to sound like, but hey, you know what? Just chilling and talking, it changes, and I think a lot of it is for us OGs. It's like, we didn't really chat so much in Discord on voice or anything, and we just talk shit, right? It's easier to talk shit when you're just typing. When you're talking to somebody, live, it's like, oh, Okay.
You
No, I
connect
don't-
to someone.
Exactly.
Well,
Right, well, and a lot of times back in the OG days, no one really talked outside their squad. Back in the old days, you know, it was just your squad chat and your squad Discord, and that was about it.
Yeah, and
You know,
when we did
and
talk,
that was, and then you know, and then you just mentioned Nitro and Miko, and those are two really stand up dudes.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. And when we did talk,
I-
we were talking shit, bro. We weren't ever talking. We were talking at each other, not to each other.
There was a few. I mean, like I've always been friends with Junior for the longest time. And Eagle One, I was always friends with Eagle One. Eagle One, that's one of the first DMs I got on Discord was Eagle One. And
Eagle One was.
but you know, back then when I first got on this game and then finally found USN. You know, I was incapacitated. I couldn't walk. I couldn't even wipe my own ass. You know how humbling it is when you cannot wipe your own ass. But on the game, everybody treated me like I was normal, and that was the coolest thing about the game, and that really helped me, you know, in my personal life, having people on the game that didn't know I was hurt, and that's the reason I would stay up a whole war. I wouldn't go to bed for a whole war. I'd stay up. I'd be scoring points for USN, and they would be like, "Well, damn, we went to bed and woke up." And you're like, well, "I'm still up," but it was because I was so incapacitated there was nothing else to do, and sleep was hard because it was painful, and but that's why I tried to become friends with a lot of people on there. Is because they helped me not knowing they helped. They just helped me just by interacting with me and interacting normally.
Well, and this guy, let me throw this out here. Duke turns around and spends over $300 to buy a laptop to kind of give back and do what we're doing on the podcast. I just want to throw that out there. That's the kind of person Duke is. So
Fair shout to you, Dookie.
yeah, he's
and when I was a noob myself, you know, Dookie was one of the first guys to reach out after I got recruited and be like, "Hey man, what do you want to know? You know, what's you know, throw me some questions." And I was always aspiring to try and catch his ass. And then, well, that never fucking happened. But you know, it was awesome. You know, and anytime even now, if I ever see his ass across the map, fuck the rest of the goddamn people. I'm going after Dookie,
Yep.
and we're gonna be off to the side, and he's gonna be blowing my ass to pieces still.
Yep.
Well, I wouldn't say all that. You get me as much as I get you.
well, and the thing is too,
I thought you're being humble, buddy.
yeah, well, all of us are being humble because, you know, I shout out, you know, what Duke has done to give back, but, you know, you're talking about Kegs too, who typically is sitting roadside, you know, doing these interviews, sometimes up to 3-4 hours, sitting pulled over across, you know, in the middle of nowhere. So, literally, we have fun doing this, and we hope that, you know, something good does come out of it. Because again,
Definitely, I've listened to a few now. I listened to the Zeus one. I listened to the KIA one. I listened to all those guys. And I listened to Cupid the other day. It's cool hearing Cupid's story. You know what I mean. Cupid's actually a really
honestly,
good dude. He's a really good dude.
Didn't mean to cut you off there, buddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
I had a little lag on my end. I personally like the most. I don't know if the rest of the guys will agree with me on this, but I think the most interesting one we did, off the top of my head, was with Rifle. If you guys have a chance to listen to that one and just the talks that we kind of got into about like mental health awareness and whatnot, I thought that was like a really interesting segue off of the normal like game talk and whatnot. You know, just from his perspectives and whatnot. I thought that was just really cool, you know, being able to actually dig in a little bit and have a good talk about some of the things that well, I mean, not so much for you, Kempo, I guess, being overseas there across the pond, but and you, Junior, in Australia, but what we're lacking here in America is a lot of, you know, the backing for our military, the backing for our law enforcement, and even on a platform, and I'm going to say it as small as this one, it was kind of humbling to me to be able to kind of, even if we can get a little bit of that out there, that someone hears and goes, hey, maybe that is really a problem, and they actually look into it without knowing anything about it. And then that might be another person we have trying to help, the state of affairs that we have ourselves in the world. It's, I thought that was really humbling myself.
Yeah. Well, and for those that don't know, because they might not know, so Rifle was on Spotify, and we're gonna reload. He was a two-parter, but he was basically a peace officer, not a police, but peace, which in the south side of Chicago, which are basically cannon fodder.
Not a good place to be.
Yeah, they were cannon fodder. And he's got a desk job now, and he explains, the prisons and his mental health and the correlation between, what he was going through versus what the prisons were going through, like prisoners, which were almost identical, which is ironic. But yeah, it's, his was really, the first time I think we ever kind of dove deep into the person, like at least the psyche anyway. And, yeah, I'll get his loaded up. I might even try to get part 1 loaded up tonight. But, yeah, we haven't put it on YouTube yet.
Yeah, see, that's a rough thing too, especially in that area where you're not. There's no support for those guys in that area.
Well, no, in
Kegs. I'm sorry, I don't really understand what is a peace officer.
A peace officer is basically
Correctional officer, isn't it?
Well, and that's one deviation off of it. A peace officer in the U.S. basically is, they're not deputized per se, but they are it's hard to describe. I guess it'd be kind of like it's a no, we weren't. We don't guard anything. We don't give a shit if you come in and you're not getting back out, is what the motto was. I was a corrections officer myself for a couple years in a different state. It's set up a little differently because we were technically sworn law enforcement, but an undeputized version.
So basically the peace officer is there to back up the police. That's how...
it's a bit like we got community support, but... they probably don't get the respect that the
at least not in Chicago. Yeah,
but then our police are running around with a bat and then a whistle and a taser. You know what I mean? It's not you.
Anyone who's ever been tased will definitely tell you that they probably don't want to experience that again. Having receiving end of one in training,
there isn't probably the same clout as when you got a handgun pointing at you.
Well,
I'll tell you what. Right now, having been tased, I would rather be shot than tased again.
Well, did the Brits at least get to keep the Astra because?
What, the car?
The car.
I've got an old Astra. It's my wife's first car, and it's over there. It's over there parked. It's abandoned at the minute. But we don't use that one.
That's good shit, right there.
I used that one when I was pissed and drove home from the pub.
Jeremy Clarkson ruined fucking every Astra in the world.
Well, so and Kempo, I gotta ask you, just because you're the only British person I've ever personally really talked to, other than this one little fucker that was on the COD fucking servers back in the day. Would you take it as an insult if someone yelled at you on a server to go choke on some tea and crumpets?
No. You can say whatever you want to me, man. I don't get too upset. But that's another thing why so many people take themselves too seriously. Probably the reason why me and Ricky get on, so we can say pretty much anything to each other and we just laugh.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like some people take themselves too seriously. No, you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh at yourself. It's just you gotta laugh at. Best thing in life is to learn to laugh at yourself. If you can laugh at yourself, you can laugh at most things, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I would get. It's just
think back to the old COD servers there, and this little bastard was on it. I'm like, you know what? Mom and Dad's money can only save you for so long, you little prick. And he said just yelling all this fucking ignorant shit. And I said, you know what? Go choke on some tea and crumpets, you little bastard. And then I finally got a kill on him, and then I don't think I saw him the rest of the day. But yeah.
Well, you should be on a team with Butters and Star Knight.
Oh, that's good shit
One's
there.
from England, one's from
From
Ireland.
Ireland. Yeah. That's good
that
shit.
sounds horrible, honestly.
Oh, it's great. It's great. One of them gets to fuck the other one like one did my country. The other one.
Well then. Actually, speaking of the tournaments, real quick, Dookie, when are we flying round 2?
What's that?
For the tournaments? I have nothing's happened in our
I think it all sort of crashed and burned. Like, 'cause me, Ricky, and Lo were in a team. That was probably the wrong team to choose because we were all 3 different time zones, so it was probably never going to work. But I just think people just struggle to get online and do. I think it's hard.
A timing thing, because you can't
It's a
have
timing
tournament
thing.
like that without having the brackets be in certain time zones. You know, so even though the time that I could fly would be like this time right now with Kempo, which would be
which I could have done.
At noon for Low. It's all times that we can do, but I forget what crew it was.
We
but
were
they could only
playing-
do
we were
7
playing
o'clock
Indy.
their time period.
It was Bond, and they were like, we can fly from 7 p.m. Indian time till like 11, right? And that's great, but that's like 3 p.m. for my time. It's 9 a.m. for Ricky's, and it's like midnight for Low. So I was like, literally, man, I was like, we can't do that time.
Were you guys the ones we were matched up with?
Pardon? No,
Was
we
it you
matched
guys?
up
We were
with
matched up with you.
Bond and 2 other Indian players.
Oh,
we would have smoked them in probably 13 rounds.
Yeah, they were like, play payload first. I was like, oh, we're going to play... No, we're going to play deathmatch and skirmish, and we'll be done in 10 games or 11 games.
Well,
Sorry,
that was my first time participating in a tournament, because I totally missed the sign-up on the first one. But Dookie managed to coax me out of retirement, semi-retirement, and we actually had a lot of fun. We were playing Bread, Crash, and Maravik, and that was a great time. And I was like, this is an interesting new way to adapt the game to work for the players instead of vice versa, you know.
Facing Crash and Bread's never a fun time.
well, and all those guys over there.
You know what? The other day I was flying and I threw out some auto aims and I thought, oh look, I killed Crash, I killed Bread, and it was 2-0 right there. It's like, oh damn! And I was all proud of myself until I realized they were flying their F-35s while I was in my stall. It's like, damn it! Just took the wind out of my sails.
Well, and all the guys over there on the Chosen Few server, they definitely deserve a shout out for trying to make shit work without the devs' help. So
Yeah, definitely.
But
Well, it was just a really
hard.
interesting way to take the gameplay into a whole different, like, way more personal matchups and shit. It was a lot of fun. You could shit talk each other, but in a playful way, and just enjoy it instead of fucking, grinding out points or all this other stupid shit. Get to know the people for more. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I fly with Brad and Crash all the time. They're good dudes, but I just lost my thought. Thank you, honey.
the voice.
I'd like to get in my bed too.
1 second, folks. Voice, come to me.
No, you don't get the you don't get the voice right now. That's my job.
Oh, give me the voice. Just tell her I said I miss her, and I will be here for her if anything happens to you.
Oh, so that means you'll take my side if I dump him?
No, but if he has an accident, then I'll take your side.
Of course there's snacks. I'm holding a bag of Doritos right now.
I said something about snacks. I don't know. All right. Anyway, hi, voice.
I got dino nuggies.
Oh my god! So for everyone that doesn't know, this is my wife. She is the obviously more charming, better half of this whole endeavor.
I would say just as charming, but still better half.
No. She is the whole. Anything that is good in this whole partnership is comes from her side.
She can still hear you, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, she's still
Oh,
there.
well, everyone's on. Well, my headset died. You're all on speaker right now, so yeah, she can hear me. She can hear me and you.
Oh.
I won't say her name, but she is the voice, and she's fantastic.
Amen to that.
Amen to that. So, with that being said, though, so when it comes to IA, I don't say what, hon? What'd you say, hon?
The voice has named herself.
I don't name years.
Don't name herself.
Every time I'm online, I always use the username Snozberry.
Snozberries.
Snozberry. You ever watch fucking Willy Wonka?
Willy
The
Wonka.
Snozberries taste like Snozberries.
They do taste like snozberries. Do you like Mexico?
The fucking lickable wallpaper, damn it.
But with all that being said, as far as you know, our different backgrounds, do you think IA, you know, do you think more people would come on and talk to us after, you know, you guys chilling with us, maybe, hopefully?
I don't know. Like Whiskey and Poppy are very, very quiet, so I don't think you'll get them. But you say you've had Mal on, you've had Mighty on, have you?
Yeah, he was our first one actually.
Oh, that's true.
And
So I've traded more missiles with that son of a bitch than I care to even think about.
and I'll get his loaded on YouTube as well. But it's just we have a whole back catalog of like 150 episodes that we've never been able to upload to YouTube yet. So
I'm just trying to work out like who would come on. I would have thought Bucky. I'm surprised Bucky wouldn't come on. Why wouldn't Bucky come on? I can't see why he wouldn't.
I'm not sure. So I've heard different rumors, you know, that he's underage, all this other shit. Who knows? But I'll say this.
No, he's 21, and I think he's in the military.
That could be why. That could be why, or it could be... So, I've told him explicitly, and my boys know, like, I love him, and I love Cupid together. And Cupid knows, I've told Bucky. But, yeah, I think that he's just nervous. But my guys here will tell you, like, they will fucking boot my ass off of here if I'm being fucking biased or something. So, you know, the last thing we want to do...
You come at me with more IA stuff. You kind of...
I really don't have any hate towards them, yeah. I mean...
No, it's not hate. I thought you might have asked more questions.
Here's the thing, though. This is a platform where we can all come on and have a civil discourse, and there's no need to, like, try and, like, corner anyone with words or fucking ream anyone or anything like that. This is literally just to have a good time, and it doesn't... again, this is, like, kind of like an area where you set aside the tags. We talk about them, but we just want to have fun.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? This isn't, like, trying to, like, attack anyone or whatever like that. Fuck all that shit.
And
Yeah,
I
this
think...
is like sitting at a bar drinking a beer and having a chat.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
like an actual
That's
decent...
how it started. Actually, was me and Bull were shit faced,
Yeah.
and that's how this started.
Yep. Episode number 1 is still up, and it's very mini-phobics. So enjoy that.
Yeah, and I was just a guest, and that's how I got on. But you won't learn
Well,
anything.
Dookie, I'm not gonna lie, Dookie. I fully intended to ask you to join the team, but we just thought it would be appropriate to have you as a guest first. But from the moment this started, you were always gonna be hey Dookie,
That's
Yeah,
true. That
exactly.
conversation was had.
You're gonna be one of the boys because you've always been one of the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my wiener out.
Voice.
Gotta get my wiener out.
Voice.
Well, I still got my I still got my shorts on. I don't know what you're talking about.
Make 2 cocktails if you're safe.
That's funny.
I'm funny. I'm a funny guy. But, yeah, in all seriousness, like, I would say this. I would say that what Kegs just said was 100% the truth. Like, there was a reason why I didn't have a tag or didn't belong to any server beyond this one for a long time, and it was just simply because I didn't want people to think that I, held any bias. Of course I do, but it's not a team bias, I guess. It's just more of, the shit that I think I know, but asking people seems to be a lot better than just hearing it from other, random people. So that's just kind of where I'm at. So
Sure.
I hope you guys had fun, honestly, because we had a blast. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I'll be honest. I didn't know what to expect.
Sure.
But I think that's fair all the way around too. So between meeting Junior and myself giving a terrible accent, and then and then and then trying to sweep it under the rug of the Brit, and then confusing everybody's name. Yeah, we're pretty good.
The only thing we're missing right now is a couple emus.
A couple emus, couple 30-30s, we'll be fine.
That's right.
So hold on a minute. So, honey, the reason I said emus is because Australia went to war with the emus not once but twice. And I might mention that they lost both times.
Well, they broke even. Not one single death from an emu.
That's not it. Well, I won't. Never mind. I won't go that far.
Not one single death from an emu, right, Junior?
All I can say is emu tastes bloody good. So
That's what I'm talking about.
That'll do.
It's like a giant chicken.
I was going to crack one at Britain, but I decided not to.
You ever seen one being processed?
Nah.
Well, first thing you do is do not walk behind one in the loading chute.
Okay.
I watched that old boy get put in the hospital. He got kicked in the chest. They had a rope tied around this thing's head trying to bring it in the cattle chute. It wasn't going to fit, and it wasn't going to bend its head down. So I'm sitting there laughing my ass off, sitting on the back of a truck. One dude's going to be kicked all the way back to the back of the loading chute. This emu's not going in the building, not the way they were doing it. It took them 4.5 hours to get it in there.
wouldn't you just shoot him in the head and then drag it?
Yeah, I like him.
That's what had to happen.
Well,
But it went off on him when he did that. It ended up tearing the loadout chute, tore a sink off the wall. It was all sorts of chaos.
aren't emus like descendants of raptors?
Nobody knew how to do it.
Well, aren't they descendants of raptors, though? The dinosaur?
Well,
Aren't they all technically?
I guess
don't
bird.
die.
You want to see something? You want to see something real tricky? Go ahead, Dookie. I'm sorry.
They die hard. They die real hard.
Right?
You got to take everything out with them when they die. And,
Well, it's like you want to see something real trippy. Fucking look up a bear being processed and tell me once the skin comes off, it doesn't look like a fucking person sitting there.
Oh, jeez.
I don't like it.
and I know
I'm scared.
a hog dropping in the scalding water before it's time for it to go in the water sounds like a woman screaming. And when it comes out of that water, it tears everything down. Sinks, toilets, faucets, cages. I ended up having to put that one down, and I wasn't even doing the hogs back then.
Yeah.
Somebody let the cage open above the scalding water. The hog come in there.
What the hell's going on here?
The cage fell off in the water.
If I was scalded alive, I'd probably be the same. I'd go.
Doesn't sound like you guys are very good at killing things.
No. As bad as it sounds, we have many guns, but we can't hit shit. So.
Speak for yourself, bud.
Unless
it's kinda right.
Now, this wasn't me. I was just the cleaner. All I did was I dealt with deer mainly. And
The only thing they can hit is tannerite.
but they didn't know. I told them, I said, "You gotta lock that cage so you run a hog up in there." But they didn't. And I ended up having to put the hog down.
Brutal. Well, I guess with that being said, boys, we're gonna have to have you back on. But no, in all seriousness, I had a great time. I'm just trying to think. Do you guys want to shout anything out that maybe we forgot? Anybody?
I'll probably get in trouble if I don't shout out to the boys at NMD and also my guys at One.
Yeah.
TX Made and Crash and all them. They asked me to shout out when I first got on, so
Yeah, absolutely.
shout out to you blokes.
Shout out to IA
And
too.
yeah, I had a bit of fun.
All I
Thanks for
ever
having
ask-
me on, and yeah.
All I ever ask, I always ask from Kempo, and he delivers, is when you're railing your wife, make sure she yells Ricky.
Pretty good. Well, I think with that being said, boys,
He's Big Duke 6.
He's cool.
and he's Kegs.
And we're to fuck out.